Our flagship project is the Great Wheel Vore, which is a group of 26 former producing mines in the important mining district of Brieg in Cornwall, just west of Helston. The mines were described in 1929 as the richest in tin of all the Cornish mines, probably the richest tin mine that has ever been worked in the world. And they also produce copper. After many years of work, geological, legal and other, we now have the rights to all the minerals and ores: tin, copper, lithium, tungsten, geothermal energy and aggregates. This shows you the local geological setting of the project area. The mines of the area are within a trough of metasediments between the granites of Tregonning Godolphin to the west. You see that shape there to the left of the picture in pink. The Godolphin granite is the lighter pink shape. Sorry, the Godolphin granite is the lighter pink, and the Tregonning granite is the deeper pink. And the project area is the red-lined area there. And on the right-hand side, the shape in red is the westernmost edge of the massive Carn Manellis granite. The Carn Manellis granite and the Godolphin granite are biotite granites. The Tregonning granite is a rare topaz granite. Topaz granites only account for about 1% of outcrop in Cornwall. All those granites are important controls on mineralisation, but the topaz granites are generally found to be highly enriched in lithium, additionally. The historic production grades of these mines were legendary. They averaged at 3.5% tin. They peaked at over 5.5% tin. There was a cut-off grade of around 1.4% tin. And admitted it's an assumption, but assuming a production grade of only 2% tin, that would put the Great Wheel Vore group of mines in the top 3 tin mines by grade if being mined today. One of my favourite stories about this is that in the 1950s, about 1950, there was a discovery made of an old slag heap next to the Great Wheel Vore smelter. And it had been covered in bushes and vegetation since the mines closed 80 years before. But it was found to contain over 36% tin just sitting there on the surface in the waste. And Jack Trounson, who reports on this in his book, The Future Mines of Cornwall, says how that shows how reckless and profligate the operators were, which was absolutely true. The mines closed in 1877, approximately, not through any lack of resource, but due to a very long-running legal dispute over mineral ownerships. Basically, what happened was the previous owner went bankrupt, a certain John Gundry, and his trustees in bankruptcy fraudulently appointed themselves as the owners of the mines. They then proceeded to mine the eyes out of the resource as fast as they could, but they didn't have a sustainable mine plan. They carried out very little exploration. In fact, there was no exploration done in the last 30 years of the mine's life. They just took what they could see in front of their noses, which was incredibly high grade, and left a lot in the ground, which was still extremely high grade by today's standards, but they didn't have time to get it. So, sensing they would lose the case, they mined it without any investment in their equipment, just asset stripped it basically. And they finally lost the case and had to hand the mine back, but that left significant tonnage of high-grade ore remaining in the ground. It's a very clean mineralogy, which we believe will be likely to be recoverable by standard technology. And again, there's a reference to the lithium potential of the Tregonning granite. No one has ever tested this for lithium. No one's really tested it at all for 150 years, except for Camborne Tin did a few boreholes in the 1960s, but couldn't get the mineral rights together to carry out the project, couldn't assemble the tenements. This is a plan showing the colour blocks are the mineral rights ownerships today in the area. We're extremely appreciative of our supportive mineral rights owners who have entered into standardised agreements with us for the exploration for and extraction of the relevant minerals through to commercial production. So, progress so far, key points. we have achieved planning consent, a general permitted development order, which was granted in July this year by Cornwall Council to implement our phase 1 drilling programme, which is 33 drill holes off 26 drill sites, lasting a 6 months programme. It took a while to get the planning consent because although this is an important mining area, this is the first time in modern history really that anyone has tried to reopen mining in this area. And we've been incredibly careful to protect the environment and to implement a very great many ecological protections in the course of what we're doing. From the outset, Cornish Tin has stood for green mining and respect for the environment. And our aim is that should a production decision prove positive in the future, we would develop this as a net zero carbon operation. So we've got our planning consent, we've got the rights to explore for and extract all the minerals, and we're now working on raising £1.8 million to fund our phase 1 programme and working capital. We've got a very strong team, and we've also got various supporters, numerous supporters and friends, many of whom I can see in the audience. I'd just like to take this chance to thank you, all of you, for your valuable contributions so far in getting us as far as we've got on this journey. It's taken 5 years of legal work. I think maybe it's no wonder that it's taken 150 years to find a lawyer who's willing to work for nothing for 5 years. That's me. But anyway, let's hope it's worth it in the end. Now this is the nub of the matter, really. The black-lined areas that you see, that elongated boomerang shape and the smaller oval, are the areas within which we will be drilling our phase 1 drill holes, all 33. There are at least 21 known lodes within the project area, and they are coloured orange on the plan. They strike east-northeast to west-southwest. And the black lines that are coming down, cross-cutting them, are the cross-course faults. The most significant cross-course fault is the Great Flucken, which is the westernmost line. The very interesting thing about this is that the pale blue shapes are the historic mine workings. So we've overlaid our modern drill holes that we're planning to start in the spring of next year on the historic mine workings. You can see there's a number of interesting things about this map. You can see that most of the historic production was to the east of the Great Flucken, but you can also see how some of the lodes appear abruptly to stop at the Great Flucken, but some of them carry on with a slight shift, a slight heave down here on the Carleen lode in particular. So there's some very intriguing prospects here. But for our phase 1 drilling programme, we have concentrated on extensions to known mineralisation. So we're very hopeful that there'll be a high rate of success on those particular holes. This demonstrates the enormous support that there is for Cornish mining from both local governments and also the UK central government. This map represents, well, firstly to say that Cornwall Council adopted in 2018 a minerals safeguarding plan, which has as its purpose to protect important mineral deposits from incompatible developments, such as surface developments. So this is protecting the actual mineral deposits for future exploration and extraction. And the plan shows the 6 mineral safeguarding areas, individual circles, which are individual safeguarding areas, which apply to the phase 1 drilling programme area alone. And there are many other mineral safeguarding areas in the vicinity. And the UK central government has shown its support for the immensely rich geo-resources of Cornwall by designating mining in Cornwall as a high potential opportunity for the UK economy, which was announced in 2019. It's sometimes thought that Cornwall is too nice to settle to reliance on tourism to make bringing back mining a possibility, but I don't believe that's the case at all. It might surprise you to see from this map that the ground that we are going to be drilling, and well, all the surrounding area and the project area as a whole, is a mix of farmland, which is in various shades of green, the upland rough ground, which is in yellow, and brownfield, i.e. industrial disused, in purple. It's very lightly populated, and there is excellent infrastructure and a very good road system. We've been at great pains to incorporate, as I said, a lot of ecological protections, and we've commissioned a very comprehensive ecological impact assessment and obviously have adopted all of its recommendations. Particularly, there's no drilling within 50 metres of residences. That will apply to any mineral operator in Cornwall. We all have that as a standard, and that's a very good thing. But we've also voluntarily committed to various other things. Without in any way compromising the integrity of the drill holes, the siting of the drill holes, we did move in the early days quite a few of them to be further away from hedgerows to protect wildlife, a little bit further away from water features, and so on. And in particular, we're going to be planting at our cost 33 trees native to Cornwall and supportive of wildlife, because we're drilling 33 holes. But we've also committed to operate, in terms of drill rig noise, to a 55 decibel limit, whereas the British standard limit is 65 decibels. So it should be a very quiet and unobtrusive programme. As I said, we're very, very committed to developing this as a green mine if it goes to production. As has been said before by other speakers, we are looking here at high-grade, coarse-grained cassiterite, and that in itself, without any other mitigations, means that your chance of operating a viable net zero carbon operation is very good. That's less waste, less carbon emissions, and less recovery costs. We're collaborating and will continue increasingly to collaborate with the Camborne School of Mines on a variety of MSc projects and PhD projects to understand better how we can look at developing green tech applications to minimise waste, improve water quality, and generally to utilise to the fullest practicable extent sustainable energy sources, including the reprocessing of mine wastes, because I'm sure that there are other surface resources that we will probably find. I mean, the slag heap that was discovered in the 1950s has long been made away with, but the area is highly prospective, and we intend to operate a very comprehensive soil sampling and grab sampling programme. Also to carry out an unusually high level of primary processing underground, so as to bring to the surface an extremely high-grade pre-concentrate, which would then be trucked by hydrogen or electric vehicles to an off-site processing centre, ideally a multi-user processing centre or hub. And of course the outlook for tin. Just in case you hadn't seen this chart before, but I think the more times we look at that, maybe the better, because it's becoming iconic. When it was 2018 that Rio Tinto commissioned that study by MIT, and it's actually happening. We can see it now, that it's happening with our own eyes. And the ferocious squeeze in the tin market that is currently upon us is not just a flash in the pan. It's being driven by long predicted market forces, a lack of investment in recent projects, the surging demand globally for green technology, and there are not many good tin projects around. So, I mean, the tin price, who would have thought a few years ago that we'd be looking at tin trading, 3-month tin on the LME stood at $37,500 a tonne on Friday. And that last question I've posed, when will the tin price reach $40,000 a tonne? Well, that seems out of date half a week later. I think it's more like, when is it going to go through $50,000 a tonne? I mean, I know that the energy disruptions and energy shortages are exacerbating this, and these may be transitory to some extent, but nevertheless, the underlying forces are driving the tin price higher, and it's very easy to see why. So I think that the outlook for viable tin projects is strong. And we believe that the Great Wheel of Ore project could be one of the strongest. So we're going to do our best to do justice to the project. Thank you very much for your attention.